folks, this is the Ridge Runner with another Pine Home Preparedness Moment, and I do mean a moment. This is going to be a quick one. What I'm going to be talking to you about today is very simple, and it is EDC. Now, you hear EDC bantered about, and you got everything from, you know, somebody carrying the smallest little penknife to their pockets are so stuffed that they look like an Oompa Loompa from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Both of those extremes are not appropriate. But when you need to know that you have the basics on you, and on an everyday basis, to do work in emergencies and in general life. If you don't regularly carry a pocket knife, when you start, you're going to realize how many times you use it, and by the time you're done, you're going to wonder how you ever lived without it. I'm always reaching in my pocket for my knife to do something or other. Everything from opening mail to opening packages of food. I can't even list how many things I use this for. Well, let's go through what you see here. This is literally what I carry every day, and you can add to that. Sorry, Gerber tool. Sorry about that. Forgot to put that on the thing. But when I wake up in the morning, I get up. And like most people, I put on my pants, and I look on the side of the bed, and these items are what get stuffed into my pants. This is the Kimber Pepper Blaster 2. I did a review on this. It has become an everyday carry item for me. I have modified it by adding some hockey tape just to get a little more grip on it. It has a little bit of a knob there too, so it makes it so it doesn't slide around so easy in your hand. I also added using white nail polish. Thank you, Jen, for letting me borrow your white nail polish. That has made it so that it's a lot easier to see these sights. Okay, not a handgun, but in New York State, it's tough to get a pistol permit. I'm working on it. When I do, I'm sure I'll have something that goes bang and does a nice job, and will be about the same size as this item here, because honestly I don't see myself carrying anything bigger than that on a daily basis. You can complain about it all you want, as Nothing Fancy says, I look at mobility versus firepower, and that's really the thought process you need to look at with all of these tools. Mobility versus firepower. Nothing Fancy, I will put you in the credits, because god darn it, that's a great thing to think, way to think. Would I like to carry a Bowie knife on me on a day-to-day basis? Yeah. Is it practical? No. Are there bigger survival knives or pocket knives or tactical knives, the tactical folders that I could carry? Sure. I did a review on one. In fact, I think at least I think I did. If I haven't, so I'm very remiss, with the Cold Steel the large Voyager Tonto, or the extra large Voyager Tonto, and it's just too darn big. It just fills up my pocket, and I got other stuff to go in there, as you can see. This is, I bounce between Swiss Army knives, I'm not going to lie. This one gets in my pocket sometimes. This was given to me by my Uncle Tom when I was much younger. And it's the Swiss Champ. It's a little bit big for carving. If you got to cut something, it works though. But I have it for a lot of the other tools, namely the saw and the scissors. They get used a lot. Yeah, but I have another one. It's one of the ALOX, the models that has. It's called the Farmer, and it has just a saw, and it's got the basic other tools on it. You recognize the Columbia River Knife and Tool Ryan 7. Great knife. I bounce between this and my Spyderco Endura with the Emerson opener. I like this knife a lot though, and I like the fact that it does not have serrations. Easier to sharpen in the field. And honestly, I find that this cuts better for most things. I always have a torch on me. Today, it's my Streamlight Scorpion. It's good and bright. This is the non-LED model. I'm an old-fashioned guy. Actually, I just don't want to spend the money. But this works. It takes CR123 lithium batteries, so I can walk around with it in my pocket for a year and never use it, and it'll still be bright when I need it. Gerber multiplier pocket tool, specifically this is the 600 model, not the diesel, and it's got the drop point style blade on it, not the weird Demi Tonto crud that they're putting out now. I like the fact that every tool on this locks. It's a good tool, but I'm not reviewing it right now. I carry a multi-tool because this thing here, honestly, if I whip this thing out, most people aren't intimidated by it. Sometimes when I pull this thing out, it's not the same thing. Let's go over to the other thing I carry. I always have a way to make fire, and you should always have a way to make fire. I think it's what it's going to come down to is you need a cutting tool. At the very least, have a cutting tool and a way to make fire. If you've got that, you've got most of your problems licked. I have a Jeep lighter. I like the Jeep. It's a little bit bigger. I wrap duct tape around it. It's kind of his armor, and it also gives me some duct tape in my pocket. Yeah, and in addition to that, I have on my keys a Light My Fire Swedish Fire Steel. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, does this thing make fires. I have done a lot of fires with that. But with that, I can make fire in 2 different ways. It gives me a lot of backup options. Now let's go to thought process for a minute here. You got all these tools, that's great. What I want you to do is, it's going to be a homework assignment here, where you are going to, sorry about that folks, I had a truck come in and I'm at work, so I had to take care of that business. However, let's go back to the thought process. I want you to go to work tomorrow, or to school, or wherever, and I want you to look around. And I want you to take a mental note or even a physical note of those things that you can find at work that would become survival tools in an emergency. These are assets that you can utilize should you be caught there and need to be able to keep yourself and maybe some other folks safe. Maybe there's an earthquake or a blizzard or something, or some other type of mishap, and then you eventually have to walk home. You have to get out, and you have to go home, or go to your bug out location, or whatever the case may be. And for some reason, you don't have access to all your survival goodies. Now, go to school, when you go to work, make this list. Take it home. Study it. And while you're out there, take a look at Dave Canterbury's 10 C's of Survival. And make a note of where those various assets fit into the 10 C's, and if they do. Sometimes, just because it's not on his list doesn't mean it isn't useful. But I find that I've looked at a lot of these different systems, and the 10 C's tend to give me the best options for knowing how to what to throw in a bag, for instance. And if you have a representation from each of those 10 C's of Survival, you'll have whatever you need. And I'll let you go over to Dave Canterbury's Wilderness Outfitters site, or YouTube page, to take a look at that. He'll have a whole bunch of stuff on that on there, and he's very knowledgeable and knows his stuff. All right, so that's what I want you to do. Go home, take a look at your writing, go back, figure out other things that might fit into that. And what this will do is it'll start keeping you looking around at what's around you. It'll help you start teaching you what we call situational awareness, understanding what's around you, what are your assets, what are your liabilities, which is the next thing. While you're at work, look at the liabilities. Is the security guard asleep? Are the doors habitually left open? Does your company have policies that are not quite up to snuff when it comes to security, and or are there policies there that make your personal security less, that lessens your personal security? You know, look at the windows. Can you open the windows? Are there fire exits? Do you know where they are? It sounds kind of silly. It's like what they tell you in your employee manual. But pay attention to these things. Know how to get the heck out. Look for different places for cover. Find the best place if there's a bad storm. Where would you go in your building to be safe? And then I'm not talking about what they tell you. Where would you go in your building to be safe from a terrible storm or something of that nature? These are all thoughts you can do, and think about all the scenarios that you can come up with and figure out how you'd react to them while you're at work or while you're walking down the street or wherever. You can keep this thought process going all the time. Well, I could go on with this for an hour, but I think I've gotten my point across. Keep your eyes and ears open and keep safe. This is the Ridge Runner, signing off.